My name is Joseph Notzon, and I will be talking about sexism. So, the article that I will be talking about is Self-Promotion as a Risk Factor for Women, the Cost and Benefits of Counter-Stereotypical Impression Management. It's written by Lori A. Rudman at Rutgers University, and it's from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, and that is her in the corner. Introduction. The main topic of this article involves the idea of sexism and the stereotype of how women should or should not act, specifically in the workplace / places of power. It is seen that men who use attributes such as self-promotion and confidence in instances like interviews or places of power in the workforce are seen as strong, determined, and motivated, and get praised for those types of actions. Women, on the other hand, when they attempt to imitate these same qualities, are frowned upon, and as a result of it, they are less liked by their peers, specifically male peers. However, these same women receive the higher performance evaluations, so there's some contradiction there. That's what we'll be talking about. These experiments test subjects to see their comparisons and choosings between men and women in circumstances of performance, and right down there is kind of just what I thought. At what cost does peer evaluation and the ability to perform with others override the stereotype between men and women? Hypothesis: perceiver's goal might moderate the negative consequences of counter-stereotypical behavior. Motivated perceivers would ask more SR questions than would relatively non-motivated perceivers, and outcome dependency might afford women relief from their self-presentational dilemma. So these are the three experiments and kind of what went on with them. I'll just say a slight overview. In the first experiments, there was 120 participants, and participants had 16 pre-selected questions, some being SR questions, which is stereotype related, and the other being more general. And within this, there was 3 different groups that would answer these questions. It was men and women, and they were interviewing to be a partner on a game show. Experiment 2, which they all related. Experiment 2, there was 63 participants, and what happened was they had people come in and view the recorded interviews from experiment 1 and kind of give their second opinion and see who they would choose. And then experiment 3 was a little bit different in terms of first, participants who interviewed candidates like prior to selecting. One is their computer game partner. Experiment 3, the comparisons between men and women were different. It was just between 2 self-promoting women who did not fit the stereotype, and then compared to 1 man who was the stereotypical motivated power, and then 1 who was not as into those sort of things, more laid back, and kind of comparing and see would women do better against one or the other. Results. The results overall showed that women really, it didn't matter as much, I'd say. It was especially seen when it all came to an end in experiment 3. As it says, the self-promoting male target was perceived as more self-promoting than was the self-effacer. The female's target's rating did not differ. As a function of the male target's IM condition, the self-promoting woman was perceived as more atypical when she was paired with the self-effacing versus the self-promoting man. It appears that the man was the standard to which the woman was compared, which sadly kind of shows that they were basing the woman's standard off the men's standard. So kind of self-promoting man looked way better than a self-promoting woman, and a self-promoting woman compared to a self-effacing man kind of just made it a little less intense, and that the standard was the men no matter what the woman had. In conclusion, you could see, as I just stated, the sad truth is that women sometimes have to choose between professional success in order to avoid social rejection or vice versa. So they come down with the choice of to do well in their job, have high performance, and be disliked by their peers, or fall into the stereotype, sit back, and not perform to their full abilities. So for my social media post that I had to go with this, I chose a skit from The Chappelle Show with Dave Chappelle, and it's definitely an explicit video, I would say, and it doesn't fully go along with the lines, but the metaphor is there, and it talks about kind of woman falling into the stereotype. And as it says, the first part of the skit, a girl is doing a job interview, and the interviewer's response after she leaves the room is kind of very negative. It's like, oh, did you see that girl? She's definitely not it for the job. Just tell her she's fired. And then the rest of the skit kind of goes on in a similar way, talking about how men view women, and as I said, it's a lot more exaggerated in the video, but the metaphors there of how men view women and kind of the backlash they face, and how in the end she, after deciding to kind of be independent, fall back into the standard of a stereotypical norm. And that's all I have. Thank you.